What's up, guys? It's Two Bricks, and Happy New Year to all of my viewers and subscribers and all of you lovely folks out there in YouTube land. I am so excited to kick off 2022 with the next installment of my Millennium Falcon rebuild series. I'm not exactly sure what I'm calling this, the Millennium Falcon Ultimate Edition, Two Bricks Ultimate Millennium Falcon, I don't know, whatever it is. You guys know what it is, but you can see that a ton of progress has been done since the last time, so I'm really excited to get in and show you guys everything that I've done. I'm going to show you all the interior details here in detail, details in detail, and yeah, all the different action features that I've built in since the last time. Previously, you just saw the working boarding ramp. So yeah, ever since then I've made a lot of additional kind of changes and features and new things. So really excited to get and show you guys all of that stuff. So I'm not going to waffle too much today. I just want to kind of dive right in and check out all of the cool things that are going on with this model. So yeah, let's do it. Okay guys, so before we get in and look at all of the interior details and stuff, I just want to show you guys an overview of all of the different action features that I've added. So we'll start over on the side. As before, we have this little knob up here that if you turn it, it will activate the boarding ramp, which I'm still super duper happy with. But what I actually added is this second section back here where there's a button that if you push on that button, you can see down here, the light on the interior lights up. And what's really cool about that is it kind of just recreates the feeling of when the boarding ramp opens, there are lights that actually turn on to kind of help guide the passengers into the Falcon. And it also just makes it feel really inviting and warm and alive on the inside of this. You know, when the lid is on, there won't be any light that really comes down through here, so it'll just be kind of a black void under here, and then being able to just illuminate the interior of that. Obviously with the lights and everything on right now, it's hard to see, but I think it just adds so much to the overall feel of it, and just really happy that I came up with that. It's very simple. I just have a light brick under here, which is just held in place with this bracket. And then on the top, I just have a Technic pin in here, half pin, that you push down on, and that just activates the button for the light. So that's really simple. And when this is all attached, it's actually going to be a part of the lid that comes off. So it'll be part of this. You know, this will all be kind of one thing, and this will all come off together with this. So either you'll have, you know, access with the kind of no lid on top of here, or you'll be able to illuminate the light. So yeah, I just think that works really well. So I'm over on the other side now, and I'm going to show you the next feature, which is this little, you can kind of see it sticking out here. You go underneath the ship here, and this little kind of part that sticks out, you can just get a finger under there and open this up, and the little kind of point defense blaster comes down, which of course Han used in The Empire Strikes Back to keep the stormtroopers at bay. So it just folds up there nice and neat. And it is technically in the wrong spot. It should be over here on the underside of this mandible, but there's really not a good area for that to be with all of this Technic structure and stuff under here. So I thought rather than not have it, just at least be better to put it in the wrong spot. So this seemed like a good candidate for it, kind of close to the front, and there's a big empty space right here where I kind of have just internal structure. So yeah, that fills up that space really nicely, and it's a great little feature. It works really well. And I think hopefully when I put the top on here, it'll all kind of fit and nothing will interfere. So yeah, but it's working well so far. The next thing that I added is also on this side right here, which is this little detail in here, which when you turn this knob will open up and will be the top hatch where Lando pops out to rescue Luke. And actually a figure can fit in there. So if I take Luke himself, go ahead and open that up, you can pop him down in there. Well, his one hand has to be up. Forgot about that. But yeah, down he goes. So you can totally do the whole rescue at Cloud City thing. You know, if you wanted to, you could build up a little platform in there, and you could have Lando or somebody else sticking out at the top there. You could actually also place Finn down in there. This is the same hatch that he looks up and has a conversation with Bulio in The Rise of Skywalker. So yeah, really happy to be able to have that, and a really slick, simple mechanism. And these doors look really nice when they come together with the angle. I know it's not the same as the kind of iris opening mechanism from the movie, but it kind of gives the idea. And I think with the way that the doors open apart like that with a single knob, I think that's really slick. So yeah, really happy with how that one turned out. So the next one that I added is an absolute doozy, and something that I've been so excited to share with you guys ever since I thought of it. That is, I added lighting to the sublight engines back here. There's a big old subassembly that runs right the way through here, which is a bunch of Technic beams. And into those beams, I have threaded LEDs, which are powered by this little cork-looking battery box right here. And when you push this button, you can see that we have lights in the sublight engines. Let me just go ahead and dim the lights in here so you can see that effect a little bit more pronounced. And there you go. That looks absolutely gorgeous. And the way that I set these up, I actually have clear tiles in the middle and then light blue tiles above that, kind of forming a glow, like a ring around that. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but in real life, it gives you a really nice effect of the engine glow kind of emanating out and getting brighter towards the center. So I could not be more happy with how all of that looks. I think that's absolutely fantastic. And I designed it in such a way that there's a very simple and pretty cheap lighting kit that you can get, which is actually designed for craft, where you light up a wine bottle. So you basically put this in as a cork, and then it has a little string of LEDs that will hang down inside of the wine bottle. But I just repurposed it for this because it has the exact right amount of LEDs, which is 10, that will fit in exactly the spaces that I need for my little kind of setup here. So you can see there the wires just threading through the Technic holes. It's actually really, really simple to set up. And I'm going to be providing you guys the link to, to actually be able to purchase this specific light setup so that you can do this on your own Falcon. And it'll be something that just adds so much to the whole overall look, I think. And you can see back here, I've built in a little kind of crate thing around the battery box, so it just holds it in place nicely. And there's really no issue at all. It just kind of fits in there almost as if it was designed for this exact purpose. So it's really, really great. I'm super thrilled with that. Yeah, so that's kind of the biggest thing. I think the Falcon, to me, always felt like it needed to have light up engines. And yeah, with the supplemental lighting down here for the boarding ramp, I think that's all the lighting I would really feel like I need for a Falcon. And I'm really happy that I have them both in there now. So yeah, super thrilled with that. All right, so now I'll start giving you guys a look at some of the details of the kind of overview of what I've done here for the interior. So let me just take off this top ring for now. I'm actually really happy with how this looks as well. And again, we have the full kind of articulation in there for the gun, so it can swivel side to side. It can go up and down, so you can actually hit targets behind the Falcon as well, which is something that the actual studio model had trouble figuring out because the way that these were all mounted. So yeah, that's actually kind of interesting. For The Last Jedi, they added a second joint right here to this cannon to be able to have it rotate backwards so that the Falcon can fire at enemies behind it, which is a really fun little bit of trivia. They actually have a different solution for The Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker, where this whole section can actually rotate. And you can actually see it in The Rise of Skywalker when Finn mans the top guns when they are being chased by the TIEs in the opening scene. You can see this whole turret section swivels around so that Finn can aim at the TIEs behind. So I think that's really cool. And yeah, so down in here you can see the full kind of look at the gunner station. So we have the two guns, and let me just pull this guy out. So it's the same kind of sled design as I had for my previous one. And we just have a really nice little kind of entryway there and a bunch of control panels and things for the fellas to look like they're really, or ladies, shooting the guns. So that's really cool. So really, really happy with that. All right, and then if we look at that corridor from the outside here, we can see kind of this the doorway to get into the whole ladder that takes you up and down there. I think that looks really, really cool. I really like what I kind of settled on for the look of kind of a brick and then a stud in between. It makes it look kind of soft and padded like the real ones kind of look, which, you know, I'm just really happy with all of that. And there's a little kind of control panel detail down here as well, just a single 1x1 tile. And then I really like the way that I continued that color scheme down through the whole kind of ring corridor here. And the solution that I have for the to get the walls to kind of feel like they're curving around, I think that all works out really well, and the kind of curved panels all come together in a really satisfying way. And it just really gives me that kind of Falcon ring corridor feeling that I want to see. So yeah, I really, really like how that goes. And then it kind of just continues down into the cockpit corridor here. And then it's just all kind of nice and continuous and flowing all the way through the whole space down into, you know, this section here with the forward hold, which now has the jag table. And I've also expanded the walls back here are raised up, as well as having kind of been finished off with tiles and things to kind of tie it all together. I do have one sticker back here from the official Falcon sets. I wanted to kind of see, you know, I wanted to see if that would add anything, and I think it does. I think it looks pretty cool, so probably going to go ahead and figure out what I did with the other ones of those and add those in there because I think it looks nice. I also have the stickered, this kind of panel detail piece back in here, which I think came with the most recent official Falcon, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I think that looks really cool, and I'm just kind of leaving that as is. I added an extra a plate worth of height to the top of this bed here, so it has a bit more headroom, which I think looks really nice, because I was doing some measuring, and I'm pretty sure that I'm going to have room here once the roof is on to have that little bit of extra height in there. So I think that looks really cool, and it just feels a bit more realistic for the figures to have some more breathing room, where, you know, the top side of the bed isn't just directly against their face. So yeah, and then you can see here, you know, continue down into this corridor through the nice circular doors there, which continues through the short corridor into this section right here. So this is all permanently affixed on here, just because, you know, figuring out how to, you know, have all of this kind of mechanism and all of that working under the hood here just required this to be kind of a solid base. So I'm not mad about that. I think that works out just fine. You can still see through here, like you can see the where it comes out for the little short corridor that I was showing you here, and how that kind of links up to the main corridor. And that's all correct and accurate to the layout of the Falcon too. So yeah, I think that works out just fine. And I think also having this section for the boarding ramp be something that is removable, I think works really well. So yeah, I think overall the amount of open space and everything that I have in here feels really nice. Okay, so coming back to the central corridor, if we come down here and we come through this first doorway, we see this storage area in here, which is, again, accurate to the layout of the Falcon. I should say this whole layout is actually incredibly accurate as far as what I've seen in various reference materials, which do differ one to the other, but I think I really captured the spirit of what each of these rooms should be. So yeah, we have just this cargo area in here, and I've gone ahead and imported over the cargo from my old Falcon and placed it into here for now, because I think it's a really good place for it. And of course, the kind of the cork bottle thing in here for the lighting, I showed you guys that already. And then this acts as a weapons rack over here, so you can put like lightsaber hilts and blades in here, and you can stick blaster handles into this section. So just to give you some options for places to store your accessories when you're not using them. Then over the side here, we just have this kind of void of empty space. I don't think I'm going to be filling this up with any mechanical details or anything like that. I may just add some darker colored plates or something onto the inside of this so it's less visible when you're kind of trying to take in the whole look. But I think it works okay as it's just kind of an empty void for now. I don't really mind that too much. And then, I just love looking at this from the back here, this look with the kind of an individual engine piston, kind of these little flaps that would kind of activate, you know, these I don't know what these exactly are for, but basically engine angling fins. And the way that these integrate with the little kind of forward vertical stabilizer thingies, these little, you know, triangular wedge wing type things, I just think that it has such a good look and just such a kind of complete Millennium Falcon feel to it. So I'm really excited to see when the lid comes down how that's all going to be. But yeah, so going back out of this this room right here back into the main corridor, we can go down one more door, and you can see the little computer terminal console thingy right here, which is actually represented on the real Falcon. There would actually be a secondary little room inside of this area on the real Falcon, because, you know, there's a lot more room in here, because this section is actually much smaller on the real thing, because it's bigger, obviously. But there would be like a little kind of computer room in here as well. And I just went ahead and, you know, I decided I wanted to at least add that part right there, so you could just kind of do the same kind of thing that you would do in that room. Just do it right out here on the in the main corridor. So I think that works just fine. And I should also mention I did add kind of studs around, like it's not all completely tiled off. So there are enough studs where I think you can plausibly place figures without really needing to have them on kind of the 90-degree angles all the time. So there's a lot of kind of odd one-off studs here and there, and I think that's the best, my most preferred way to do it, because yeah, it gives you the most options for posing. So yeah. Oh, and while I have Chewbacca in hand, I should show you guys. I have the smuggling compartments. I actually added a second one since the last time you guys saw it. They're identical right now, and I actually removed the cargo boxes that were in there before, and I replaced them with a more specific Millennium Falcon related cargo box, which is this one right here. So this is designed to represent the loot boxes that Han got when he, for his reward for rescuing Princess Leia from the Death Star. And he got a bunch of them, of course, and I just have two represented here that sit underneath this little kind of secret doorway hatch thingy under here. And you place those in the floor, and they just sit in there, no problem. So really like how that worked out. I'll put the other one back here. So yeah, obviously once they're in, it's a secret, and you can't tell that they're there. So I just use, minifigures. I just place their feet on it to bring them up, and I think that works out just fine. So yeah, you'll know that they're there, but the Empire won't. Okay, so yes, going into this main central room right here, we can see this is the engine room. So this is the hyperdrive, and this connects with all these different wires and tubes and things that goes off to the whatever other part of the ship is controlled by the hyperdrive, but it also has an additional kind of these two arms that come off and connect in here to the sublight engines as well. And I think it's just a really complete looking replica of the prop that we see in the movie, or not in the movie, in the kind of behind the scenes reference books and things of that nature. And I think that just, I think it works really well for this scale, and it takes up enough room where it feels like this room has a purpose. It doesn't feel like just a big open space, but it doesn't stop you from having figures in and around and being able to, come in here and fix the hyperdrive and stuff. Chewie's feet won't go down, but yeah, you get the idea. But yeah, I think it's a good scale for this particular thing. And I tried to put a lot of other kind of additional pipes and greebly details around to give it that engine roomy look. And I added this very obvious hatch down here, and you can see Rey is getting ready to launch an escape pod and go and try to convince Kylo Ren to join the Resistance. So if I pop Rey out of there, you can see it's kind of a nice plush space down in there for the escape pod. And so canonically speaking, the escape pods would go down and travel along this little kind of tube and get shot out the back, either side of the rear end of the Falcon. And I think that just having this little door open up and have a little kind of what looks like a cushioned off little area in there, I think it works really well, and it kind of shows you what it's supposed to be without having to have an actual above ground escape pod like my original plan. And you can see it just closes up just fine. And a passerby might never know there was anyone in there, so I think that works out really well. And then coming down the final door here of the corridor, this takes you to the sleeping quarters where we have two beds, and I can actually pop this one out. So this is designed to be stuck into the wall here, and then this one is designed to be removed so that you can just place a figure in it easily and then put it back. So that was just, I have some off-color brackets in here, but this will all be dark gray when I'm done with it. But yeah, then that just sits back on here on a single jumper stud right there. And I just kind of place these wedge plates in here to kind of act as a guide to show you roughly where those are supposed to go. And then I have the kitchenette represented in here where we have a space microwave on the top and some lights and a pan here for cooking up some goodies. Drawers for storage, and the prerequisite coffee mug, of course. And this is actually something that I saw in the cross sections book for The Force Awakens. There's this little kind of folding shelf thingy right here, kind of like you'd see on a camper van. So you can actually pull that up when you're not using it, and then that gives you access to the door, which opens up and takes you to the toilet. Because the Millennium Falcon does have toilets, two of them actually behind the bunks. And then there was a third bunk here, but then that got replaced with the kitchen. So I have the toilet back in there represented pretty nicely. There's actually a vent right here to suck out some of the unpleasant smells that you might have, and kind of vent that into the, I'm imagining, to the airlock. And same goes for back here. I have some plumbing where this pipe, I'm imagining, would be the kind of main water supply / the U-bend to remove materials towards the airlock where they would be flushed out into space. So that's my little headcanon of the plumbing of the Falcon. But I think it works really well. And then when you close the door up and you place down the little kind of hinge here, it almost acts like a locking mechanism. And I think it just works out really, really well. And if you guys do want to see, a figure can fit down in here and be using the toilet. Sorry, Chewbacca. Didn't mean to embarrass you. Well, Chewbacca's a little big with his big kind of furry back piece, but you can see he can sit on there, no problem. Hopefully nobody goes in there after Chewie. I feel like he would make a real mess. So there you go. So yeah, one toilet and 2 bunks and a kitchen, and I think that's really all you could possibly need for the living quarters of the Falcon, and I think that's absolutely perfect. And it just, it really kind of, if you look at that Force Awakens cutaway diagram, it's pretty much exactly what you see in there, so really, really pleased with that. And then coming out of that room and making our way forward down the corridor, you can see there's a panel here with some detailing. That is intended to be my version of the Han and Leia makeout spot. That's a little kind of cramped space where they can be getting to know each other a little bit better, like in Empire Strikes Back. And then you come back down that corridor that I showed you here, through the short corridor, and you're back into the main hold. So that all works out just fine. And I still have the same kind of piping detail and things in here that you saw last time, but now it's all just been kind of finished off with some panels up here and some plates to really tie it all together. So really, really happy with that. And I like this little bit of extra piping detail up above the seat here. It's not much, but I think it adds something. Yeah, I think it's cool. And then so in the outer part right here, we can see there's a secondary cargo containment area, which is again accurate to the layout of the Falcon, though I think it would be a little bit more forward in the actual thing. And then we have the main kind of cargo entranceway here, where you would come through some doors here and you would load up your cargo. But here I have a porg attending to a nest with a baby porg egg in it. And that is, of course, a nod to The Last Jedi, when porgs moved into the Falcon and started just nesting everywhere and tearing up the ship and making a mess. So yeah, I really wanted to pay homage to that because I love that movie and I love the porgs. And I had this piece from the recent the Daily Bugle set. They used it as a bird's nest in there as well, and I thought that was such an ingenious use of this furry collar piece that I decided to steal it and put it in here, and I think that works out just great. And then finally here we have the additional third kind of forward cargo section here, and this is a representation of the ship's life support systems, and this kind of brown tubing and this big cylindrical device in here is pretty accurate to what you see in the cross sections, and I wanted to just kind of have something unique to the Falcon and kind of accurate to fill up this space, and so that's what that is. And then you can see in here the final bit of additional interior detail that I added is the central console between the 2 seats for the Falcon, so you can lift up the hyperdrive activation lever and put it in the forward position. You can see that better there. So it's just a little central console like what you see in the movies, and it just adds that little extra bit of authenticity to the layout. So yeah, just that. All right, so as you guys can see, I have flipped the model over on its underbelly here to give you guys a look at basically what I've done to finish out the bottom here. I am waiting for some light gray arch pieces to replace those. Those are not supposed to be dark bluish gray. But other than that, it's basically complete. So we have a very similar docking ring, or sorry, gunner port to the top of the ship, but obviously different detailing to make it screen accurate. It was actually super tricky to figure out this red portion in here until I thought, like, I'll just put a wedge plate in there at that particular angle. So that worked out really well. But yeah, just all the different kind of mechanical detailing and really specific shapes and patterns that we see down in here, and the coloration and everything like that. This little kind of tan section down in here. This machinery and greeblies and pipes and other things that we see down here was all really, really fun to kind of figure out and design, especially with like using all these weird little kind of offshoot pieces I don't normally make use of, like these little Technic parts and these spring-loaded or stud shooter pieces, and yeah, just placing kind of a lot of plates under here to minimize any light leak from the engine lights. So that all works out really, really well. That you really don't see a lot of spillage when the lights are on. And then yeah, just kind of replicating the kind of vertical stabilizer fins down here, but just attaching them in a slightly different way to how they are on the top. And then placing the red caution lights all around in the correct and proper positions for those. So yeah, just really, really had a lot of fun kind of going to town, figuring out all the different details and things of how this is all gonna kind of shake out. So it's kind of fun seeing the underside here from the boarding ramp. So yeah, just really, really thrilled with how all of this is turning out. And I think I'm ready to call the bottom of this done. So that's really cool. The only other thing I'll have to figure out is how I'm going to attach a stand to this. Yes, attach, that's how you say that. And where, whether or not it'll be a similar design to what I did for my my playset scale Falcon, where it's just sort of a large frame that sort of hugs the bottom of this. I want to try to do something a little different to that, but we'll see what I can do. But yeah, I'm just really happy overall with the look of this, especially with the mandibles now being done. I mean, I'm not 100% done with the detailing. Like, this is all feeling pretty good. This side is lacking in kind of piping and things like that. Oh, and I did also figure out how to get these front headlights on here, like I was saying last time that I wanted to do. But yeah, so just really happy with the appearance of that overall. And of course, the other thing I've been having fun with is just tons and tons of greeble work, greebling, pipes, all the little details like this, what I was showing you guys before, the light, kind of, mirroring that on this side and figuring out the look of all the little tubes and sockets and whatever else powers the Millennium Falcon. I'll actually flip this around and give you guys a look on the other side there. But yeah, just really having a ton of fun figuring out all of this good stuff. I haven't completely finished, so there's some unadorned panels back here. Some areas that aren't 100% done, but getting pretty close. I think I'm really happy, and the look of how kind of all the panels come together in here and stuff, I'm really pleased with. And there's a quick look from the other side, just going all the way down from the engine, down past the docking ring. And then we see in here just the shorter section in here that kind of connects. And actually, one thing I did want to show you guys is I've actually figured out various ways. So you can see down in there's a gold stud. And then over here you can see here there is a little Technic half pin, and these are just different ways that I'm using to basically wedge these bottom plates in place. So I have a string piece that is attached to the bottom panel here that goes around that and just connects to this hook with a little stud on the end to keep it pinned in place. And then over here we have just like this half pin is resting on this reversed section where this is kind of plugged into the build here, and then this section is hinged, and then that just kind of keeps it in place. So there's just a lot of different strategies like that to keep all the bottom plates at the angle that they're supposed to be. But that is all done now, and these are all secure. So same kind of on the bottom here, I have that string technique, and yeah, and just all the different ways that I'm kind of keeping this all secure. But it's all pretty kind of low impact. It's not a bunch of joints and things and ball joints and all kind of stuff keeping it all together. It's actually very minimal, but it doesn't rely on any rubber bands or anything that will wear out over time. So I'm really happy about that as well. And the other thing I try to do actually is minimize the use of clip and bar pieces to hold the structure together. That's something I relied on a lot for the previous Falcon, but I'm trying to use more of the Technic pin system. So there are still clip and bars where I need them, but for the main kind of panels that are being held together, I'm trying to use these Technic hinge plates that have the Technic pins in them because they're much sturdier and they last a lot longer. They won't wear out on you like the clips do. But yeah, I just tried to kind of lean more heavily on that and rely less on clip and bar pieces this time around. So I think that's a good decision. I think it's going to work out in everybody's favor in the long run. And because the regular Lego system clips work really well for holding like bar details and things in place, but not so much for supporting big areas of structure. So yeah, I just thought that was a cool thing to call out, and something that I think just improves overall the structural stability of this model. And I think actually that's something I was worried about too, like with these mandibles. I was like, are these going to be sturdy enough? They're very secure with the way that these are kind of all hooked in with Technic to the main frame there. So yeah, this is not going anywhere. All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for today. Hopefully you guys agree that the progress that has been made is good and a step in the right direction. I'm just beyond thrilled with how this is going. And I think when you're done and you have this on a display shelf and you're able to put 4 figures in the cockpit, figures walking up and down the corridor, place figures here, sitting around the JAG table, sleeping in the bed, loading up cargo, 2 gunners in the 2 gunner positions, a person back here in the escape pod, plus people working on the hyperdrive. I just think it's going to be so cool to be able to really populate this thing. And it's crazy to me that all it took was scaling it to the exact cockpit that we got from Lego's own playsets that are so tiny and so limited. And actually, that's one thing I wanted to call out to you guys is the exact kind of final scale of this. This is 25 inches long, which is 7 inches shorter than the UCS Falcon and 7 inches taller or longer than the playset scale Falcon. So this is literally dead on, right in between those two scales. And I think it's a really great scale to work at because you get so much detail that you can put in here, so much space to work with, but it isn't this colossal thing that's going to just take up your whole house like the way that the UCS Falcon does, because that thing is just insane. So I think this is a really, really practical solution for people looking for that next level Falcon with all the detail that you want to see and just, you know, a bit more of an affordable display piece to have. So yeah, I'm just thrilled about this, and hopefully I'll be giving you guys kind of the final episode next week. I have one more little action feature that I want to squeeze into this. You can take a guess at what that might be, but it's going to be kind of to do with the overall shell here. And yeah, that's something that I'm really excited about, and hopefully it'll be done in a relatively short amount of time without having to change up too much of the interior here, because I've been kind of trying to measure it and make sure that it all will fit. But of course, you never know until you actually get down to it. The actual engineering part maybe prove to be more difficult than I'm anticipating. We shall see. But yeah, so that's it for today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic 2022. And I can't wait to grow the channel even more than, you know, this is our 3rd year now at 2Bricks. And I'm just incredibly excited to show you guys all of the cool stuff I have in store for the new year. And it's going to be amazing. So make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Give this video a like if you feel like it and if you liked it. And leave me a comment to know what you think. Because, yeah, if there's stuff that you wanted to see that I didn't show, definitely let me know, and I'll try to include that in the next video. And yeah, we'll just be kind of doing hopefully a full Falcon wrap up on the next one. So look out for that one when it drops. So thank you guys again. I hope you have a wonderful and safe new year, and may the force be with you.